Hello. What was that? Did you just
do
hiss
a
like
demon
a
growl?
cat?
No, I went, hello.
I didn't even hear that.
It's because it was so low and you were so high.
All they're gonna hear is like my high pitch.
Yeah,
not
and
you
just
matching
a
me.
growl underneath.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Mystery
Welcome to the
Files.
Mystery Files.
But I'll do the other hello just so they have it. You ready?
Huh?
The normal hello.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Hello. They're like, we missed the normal intro. Well, you don't get it. With love, it's a no from me, dog.
They want to hear the soothing voice of us, or my soothing high-pitched frequency.
They're not coming us for any soothing. I don't know what you're thinking.
No, they do, because I saw the thing that was
Oh,
like people
yeah.
listen to us to go to bed.
They do.
It's crazy.
They just understand pure joy, and that's it.
I wonder if like they've listened to us like the next day. Well, no. I wonder if they've like woke up the next day and our voices are still like in their head. You know what I mean?
They're like, I can't stop thinking about them. I
Like-
hear their voices every single moment of my life.
We have like adoring fans like, I love you.
I love your voice.
so much.
You're my favorite. Sniffle, sniffle. Thank you, fans. We love you the most.
Thank you,
You're truly the
fans.
best.
Welcome back to the Mystery Files,
Welcome back.
episode 2 of season 6.
Yes.
Can you believe that?
That's so many seasons.
Literally, I think like we definitely start a new season like every like spring and like fall cycle, so I can see how like that many has come up, but like
Yeah.
that's almost like 3 years
It's
in
so
a way.
exciting.
Yeah, it's
We're
crazy.
doing it. We're
but I
doing the
love it.
thing. Season 6,
And then-
episode 2.
And then after this season, we'll be back again for the 3rd season of the Summer Tapes, the
Oh,
spin-off series. It'll be season
Yay!
3.
I'm excited for the summer tapes. They just have a nice little special place in our
Mhm.
hearts. I don't know.
Season 2 is all over the place, though. Not the
Yeah.
episodes, but our production was because of like my job.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Remember?
We
'Cause
had
I was
cute
just,
promo,
like-
though.
We did have really cute promo.
We did.
If there's one thing I hope our fans enjoy, if you can see it on our Instagram at the Mystery Files _
Yes.
is I hope you enjoy our promos. We
Our
put a lot of work into our marketing plans.
We do, so they could be a little cute. I love it.
Mhm. We still need to put up like fake missing posters of us around the city to promote the show.
We do. No, someone's gonna actually call though. That's my fear.
Well,
Someone's
there
gonna
isn't a
like
number
think-
attached though.
That's for the best. I had a fear that like, what if there is a number and they call, or they call the police saying, "Oh, there's people missing. I found them."
Could we get arrested for like faking a like missing person
Not
thing?
if it's reported to the police. Like if it's not reported to them.
Yeah, because we're not saying that we're missing. We're saying our show is missing.
We're saying
basically.
our characters within the show are missing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
not
like
our
art.
fault. It's the same name.
It's art. If anything, we would get maybe a charge for what is it? Destruction of property? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. We can just use
like
some
art?
tape. We'll just tape it.
Like,
We didn't destruct anything.
we'll be like, we're sorry. We're sorry.
We're just
We
trying to destruct the system. Destroy it.
Oh my gosh.
With love.
Last week we talked about Wendigos.
The Wendigos. The Wake Me Up Before You Wendigo Go. Yep.
You remembered because I mentioned it before
You
the
did.
podcast
And
this time.
I'm remembering full in color now. Right here.
Antlers is back also
Ooh.
on HBO Max. Like it just released for streaming.
I just
so I'm
saw
gonna
that.
watch
I just
it.
saw that and I was like, Logan.
Yeah,
So-
glad I didn't pay $20 for it.
You were going to pay $20 for it?
I was thinking about it.
Man.
I was thinking.
I'm glad you
about it.
didn't. I'm glad you didn't do the little TikTok sound that's old now. I was thinking about it. I'm not going to do it. I did it. That really
I
old
did
TikTok
it.
sound.
No,
I
yeah,
did it.
exactly. So hopefully I'll watch that soon.
There you go.
I also started the Chucky series on Peacock.
Oh, I didn't know that was on there.
They have the Chucky series on Peacock.
I'm about to watch it.
I do recommend it. I watched the first 2 episodes yesterday. I think
Okay.
the first one's a little weird, but it picks up. It does a good job.
I'll give it a chance. I like the idea. I love Chucky,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, do you really?
No, I do.
You kind
I
of look
do.
like him, like a little bit. Did you
That's
cut your...
so mean. I'm not a redheaded serial killer child doll. No.
You could be. Follow your dreams.
Do I look like I'm 1 foot tall? It's probably 2 feet tall.
Do you want me to answer?
Logan, I'm literally 5 whole feet tall. That's so many feet for me.
And I'm 5'10". You're like a little bean sprout.
Oh, Mr. 10 inches taller. Oh, that's so much taller, Logan.
That's like really tall. You're like a
Listen,
Sky
I'm way
Scraper.
taller than I used to be. In like, what was it, 5th grade? I was like 3 feet tall. I was so short. You should not
Really?
be 3 feet tall in 5th grade. That's all I'm saying. Never be 3 feet tall in 5th grade. And if you're out there, I understand you. We are on the same level. You will grow. Maybe.
I understand your hurt.
I understand the
with
hurt.
you.
I'm with you, but I had so much fun in middle school. 5th grade, I was on top of the world, gliding and surviving. So you'll be fine too.
Oh my god.
I hope no 5th grader is listening to this. God forbid.
Do you think we have any elementary school kids listening to us?
5th grade's not element, it's middle school.
Is it? I thought
some
6th
schools-
grade was
My
middle
school was 5th grade.
Oh, really? Mine,
Yeah.
mine middle school is 6th grade through 8th.
Mine was 5th through 8th, so.
Oh. Well, we're also from small towns also,
Yeah.
so like they have to absorb us a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of small towns, I'm not going to mention the people's names, but I saw 2 people that went to my school today in the store.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wild.
Oh, wow.
Randomly. And I didn't realize who I realized that one person I might know them, but I was like, no, that can't be her. And then we both looked in each other's eyes at the same time while she's at the counter, and she went, Tiffany, and I went, and I said her name. I'm like, what the heck? What are the odds?
I run into like people I used to go to high school with like all the time, and they have like not addressed me once.
Really?
Like I wish I would address them, but they just like completely are like, I don't know who this is.
The thing is, as soon as I know someone, I'm going to address you. I don't care if we met for like 2 seconds one day, I'm going to address you.
You will be saying hello.
I will be saying hello, even if you don't like me. I'm saying it anyway.
You're saying hi.
Because I remembered you.
You're like, I want this social interaction.
I want this interaction. Even if I really don't remember you much, I'll be like, I think I know you from somewhere. Hi, I missed you. I love
Oh my
it.
god.
But yeah, that's where I'm at. That's my life. Also, I got a cat, but we'll get into that later.
You did get a cat.
I got a kid.
What do you mean we'll get into that later? Is that spoilers?
No.
I thought it was spoilers for the case.
I just figured that's something I could be like, hello, I'll tell you now. I got a kitten. His name is Dipper from, what's it called? Gravity Falls. And he's
It's
very
so
cute. He's a little cutie. He's really stinky, but I love him the most.
Is he actually stinky?
Oh, no, he
Just a little
is.
bit? Oh.
He is. Well, I have to give him another bath because he's been having little accidents because he's scared. But now he's getting used to litter box.
Aw.
King.
We should have like the cats on the show. Just like
You
have
just
them
hear-
sitting next to us. Just hear,
Those little cat sneeze. Do you like it? That's
All-
an impression of my cats.
All right, are you ready to get into this week's
Oh
mystery?
my
I'm excited
gosh,
for you.
I am. Okay.
It's your
I'm
turn
ready.
this week,
I'm
so
ready.
I'm
Give
excited
that,
to see.
give that drum roll.
But wait, I have to let them know. Before the show happened, you said I asked her if it was supernatural or true crime, and she said, "What did you say it was like?"
I said it's both, but not true crime. Because I don't really know how to explain it, but it's definitely not just supernatural because it couldn't be supernatural.
You
but
have like
it could
the
be.
most cryptic clues of it.
I like it. It's
Like-
the best kind.
I think when I explain it to you, I try to over-explain it so you're just more confused.
I just like to keep you in the confused state, regardless of whatever I can tell you. I want you to be very confused. That's why I'm excited.
All right, should I give you a little drum roll?
Yes.
All right.
This week on Z Mystery Files, we're covering the case of mermaids. Nah, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to mess with Logan. It's actually the sleep paralysis demons.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like just like sleep paralysis demons in general.
In general.
Oh boy, it's
Yes.
gonna be a fun one.
I just want to like scare people a little, so
I'm already tired, so I'm gonna just start seeing things
you're
out of
gonna
the
go
corner of
home
my
and
eye.
start seeing sleep paralysis demons.
No, literally.
Yeah, so that's the case for this week. So
Oh boy, so is it just like a bunch of different demons and like what people see?
not necessarily a bunch of demons. There's one demon that you probably know, but we'll wait till we get
Is
there.
it-
We'll wait till we get there.
I can't say. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want you to
won't
say
hop.
yet.
I won't hop things.
So
okay.
yes, that. And then just different stories and experiences by other people that I found on Reddit. So we'll get to all of
Ooh.
that. But
okay, so these are Reddit stories.
yeah, there'll be Reddit stories towards the end. But we're gonna get into like the science of it and all that
Ooh.
stuff. So
All right, let's.
I would
hop
like to
in.
thank some different websites. So Reddit, the Sleep Paralysis Log subreddit, globalnews.com, and sinistercoffeeandcreamery.com, which is a very cute website that had some interesting.
That's some
information.
scary information.
I
on
know.
it.
I'm like, what a cute name for a horrifying website. Thank you. That's what I love to hear. So, to the intro. So, you wake in the middle of the night and you feel it, an evil, menacing presence in the bedroom with you. You open your eyes and your worst nightmare is standing at the foot of your bed. It's real and you can't move a muscle. It might look like an old hag, an alien, a deceased relative, a shadowy figure, or a demon sitting on your chest. No matter what it looks like, this creature leaves you terrified and seemingly trapped in your own body, unable to move as it weighs down on you. This is a so-called sleep demon, and it has terrorized humans for thousands of years, although science has only managed to explain it within the last century. So
Oh.
that's the intro. But
Oh, really? Wait, like sleep paralysis demons have only been able to be explained in the last century.
yeah, by scientists at least.
Okay, so like last 100 years. Okay.
Yeah, but it's been something that people have experienced for like thousands. But like for
Oh
some reason,
God.
scientists have just dismissed it
I feel like
until
I
this last
know
century.
some of the science that goes in, and you'll probably get into it. But I think it's just so funny to think like like there wasn't science before this, and like people just thought they were in like a hellscape
They're like,
at
I'm
all
I'm getting
times.
possessed. That's all it is.
Like I'm literally just possessed by a demon.
I'm
like
literally just possessed, home slice. That's all it is. So that is horrifying to think people didn't have an answer until.
like just imagine being like, yeah, I just see my Aunt Mary sometimes in like the middle of the night. You're like out on a date like in the 1800s.
Yeah, and they're like, "You good?" She's
They're like-
standing on the side of your bed.
and that's like normal to them. They're like, oh, whatever. I mean, like, I would start thinking it was normal if it was happening
Yeah,
that much.
they're like, "Yeah, I see shadow figures in the middle of the night. There's
It's
demons
like-
sleeping on my chest. There's so much happening, but I'm fine. I'm normal. I just can't move. It's so normal for me.
It's just like so quirky of me that like I can't like move out of my own
It's
bed.
so quirky. You
crazy.
mean you can see your room, but you can't move? What? Weird. Also, we can joke about this, guys. We've had experiences.
we have had experiences which we
have.
should get into,
We
but we
should.
should wait because
Because
I know one of them, and I feel bad that I'm keeping it cryptic, but I'm just excited.
It'll be so fun when it's revealed, though, because you'll know exactly. So, according to scientists, the sleep demon is actually hallucination linked to sleep paralysis, which occurs when a person is jolted awake in the middle of the rapid eye movement or REM phase of sleep, associated with dreaming. You wake up, but your brain is still dreaming, and it's projecting your nightmares into the real world. There are countless old folk tales about spirits and demons that accost sleepers in the middle of the night, often to prey or punish the helpless victim. But scientists say the phenomenon is actually a psychological event linked to stress and poor sleep habits, not some paranormal force. And here's what you need to know about the witch in your bedroom, the monster in the doorway, and the demon on your chest. So then it gets into like what is sleep paralysis exactly.
Okay.
So, it says sleep paralysis consists of an experience of being awake and aware of the surroundings, but unable to move any muscles except for breathing and eye movements. However, it is much more than that. Sufferers of sleep paralysis will describe a sense of fear and breathlessness, pressure on the chest, a sense of an evil presence in the room, a sense of being touched, shadows, footsteps, and the sufferer is intensely frightened and feels helpless. The experience may last just a few seconds or may continue on for a few minutes. So people have different experiences of how long it is. But I wonder what like the longest one
That's
out
what I
there
was just about to ask. What do you think is like the longest that's happened? Like I wonder.
My guess is maybe 20 minutes because most of them, no one ever said like, oh, it's gone past a half hour. Like a
Yeah.
lot of them have just been very short
I feel like there's
bursts.
no way to keep like record of time though. I guess maybe if you
Yeah.
can see a clock though, like if you're able to like know your surroundings but can't move and see a clock, you can know
Yeah.
to keep record of it. But like,
Or like if you were at like a dream analysis
Yeah.
place, and they have like those things hooked up to your brain to see when you're in the REM.
oh
process
yeah,
of
the sleep
sleep.
studies they'll do with that.
Yeah, but then again, how
Okay.
would you know exactly where in the REM
Mm-hmm.
process that the thing actually started? Because it can start in the middle, it can start towards the end, and that's why I think it's so short, because it's like the bursts of.
I bet it also has to do with like heart rate too.
Yeah.
Like the anxiety, like seeing like where their like heart rate was like really, really high in like
Yeah.
the night and stuff.
They're like, this makes sense.
I
and
feel
people-
like that'd be so scary like if I went through that too, because like I don't have like a clock in my room, so like I couldn't
Yeah.
like check my phone to see, because like you can't move
You
in
can't
those
move.
experiences. So like
Yeah.
I wonder if like there's been a lot of people who've had like those experiences for long periods of time.
Yeah,
and
it's
they
very
just
possible.
like don't know.
Also, like, I feel like if it's anything like normal sleeping,
Mhm.
like I feel like my dreams are very long and they can last like what seems like a long time, because I will fall asleep at some time or whatever, but then I'm like feel like I'm dreaming for forever, and then I wake up and fall back asleep and I'm still dreaming of the same thing until I wake
Yeah.
up the next like time I wake up.
Oh yeah, I've had that happen to me too. Like I've gone like back to bed like
Yeah.
to finish a dream sometimes too. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, I need to.
So I'm like, it has to be a pretty long amount of time. So if sleep paralysis is kind of within the same realm as like nightmares or like normal dreams,
Yeah.
there could possibly be a long version of it. I just have never heard of it.
Yeah. We'll have to like look into that. That sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
'cause I'm intrigued. But about 7% of healthy people and up to 40% of people who suffer from panic disorders and different types of mental issues report episodes of sleep paralysis. So sleep paralysis experiences are usually explained in a culturally specific manner, leading to paranormal explanations ranging from witchcraft, to spirits, and to extraterrestrials. Not all experiences of sleep paralysis are intense or frightening and may involve just one visual, tactile, or auditory event. And even though scientists explain sleep paralysis as the continuation of REM sleep while in the process of waking up, to the person suffering from sleep paralysis, the experience is real. So they're obviously still experiencing something.
I didn't like realize that idea that like culture could like play a big part in that too. 'Cause, like, we've
Yeah.
talked on the show before about like different cultures having different like types of like demons, gods, and like things like that. So like I guess that
Yeah.
could play a part in like seeing things that are like significant to your culture.
Yeah. And I guess I also never really thought about like some people relating it to aliens.
Yeah, no,
Which
I
I
was
think is so fun because I love aliens. So I'm like, that's such a cool thought.
well, that's what I was thinking about too. Like, I wonder how many people have been like, I was abducted by aliens. Was it like sleep paralysis too?
Yeah.
You know,
Like,
like
oh, I
I
love
can still
that.
believe in an abduction though. I'm
I,
not. I'm
I
not. I'm not.
always want to believe in an abduction.
Yeah,
Or
I think it could be
aliens.
either or. It could
Either
be
or.
sleep paralysis and actual.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like getting abducted by actual aliens, but you're also having sleep paralysis? So you see like a demon, but there's also aliens.
I love that. Wait, I just had the craziest thought. Like,
There's like an American Horror Story episode. Like,
this thought, I'm telling you, it's something. It's something somewhere. Now imagine, hear me out.
okay, I'm closing
You
my eyes.
are, what's
Mhm.
the word for it again? When you're, what is it called? What is it called? When
Asleep,
you're,
tired.
I can't think of the word for it. When you're lucid dreaming. Lucid
yes,
dreaming.
yes.
But there's another word that I'm trying to think of. It's also kind of like lucid dreaming. When you're tied to a cord to your body. It's a physical.
oh my gosh.
What the heck is it called?
Astral projecting.
Astral projecting.
Boom.
Thank you. Okay, hear me out. So, what if there's a version of sleep paralysis where you astral project, and what if in that like different version of it, you could, in theory, get abducted by aliens, but what if the whole world switches on you, and then why was my phone listening, Logan? The aliens are literally coming for me. But listen, what if this sounds so crazy? I know I sound crazy. So then
You sound like an extreme theorist. Like,
this is
listen,
where I
listen,
want
my
to go here. I
ideas.
want to go here. So, on the other side of the astral projection cord, you are being abducted by aliens. But what if there was a way to make the reality shift so you're actually getting abducted by aliens, but the other side of the cord is your fake life?
Oh my god.
Doesn't that make you scared?
Like you switch bodies?
You switch places in
Oh my
reality
God.
to be. You exist
Ooh.
within the astral projected realm instead of your real body.
I think that's like an actual like thing people have like done in like movies and stuff
I
before.
know that's
I'm
why
pretty
it's.
sure.
But like, imagine it's when you're getting abducted by aliens.
that'd be something like that's like almost a form of time travel.
Yeah.
Wait.
This is everything. This is everything.
It's all making sense.
It's all making sense to me now. So.
It's almost like dreams have endless possibilities.
It's too much for me to handle. So, although scientists believe one thing, I'm here wondering if maybe there's something more mysteriously sinister and paranormal is to blame for these episodes of sleep paralysis that many have experienced by so many. So I'm on the side that like I want it to be paranormal. Like I feel like it can't just be. Maybe it can just be science, but like part of me is like, is this something more sinister?
It's usually my cop out in this show, I feel like, but I think it can be both. I think
Yeah.
there are people who like obviously like because it is like a scientific condition, like
Yeah.
sleep paralysis is a real thing, but I also think people actually seeing ghosts
Yeah.
or like demons or like these apparitions are actually happening because
Yes.
zipping my mouth till we
You're zipping
get
your
there,
mouth?
but yes.
Well, I think your mouth's about to be unzipped because the most popularly
Is this the first one? It's the
recorded
first one?
entity that has been recorded by so many around the world is the Top Hat Man.
Let's go!
Let's go. So, Logan, do you know who the Hat Man is?
Of course I know the Top Hat Man.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
Yeah, it's the Top Hat Man's son.
Oh.
It's his son.
Yes, no, of course I know the
Yeah.
Top Hat
What's your
Man.
experience? Tell us a little about your time with him.
Yeah, so the Top Hat Man is usually this completely dark silhouette. You can't really make out any of the features like in his body usually.
Mhm.
But he's just like very like tall and has like this like black top hat on him. And he just kind of like sits in like the corner of a room and kind of like watches you like while you sleep. A lot of people have talked about
That
it
is
before.
so creepy.
Really
Ew.
creepy.
Mhm.
So my experience with the Top Hat Man is this was when I was about, I believe, 6 or 7 years old. You know, when you're a kid, you kind of sleep downstairs in the living room sometimes, like, 'cause
Yeah.
that's where my family used to sleep. Like, my mom and dad would sleep in the living room, so
Yeah.
sometimes I'd sleep there too and watch TV all night. And we had a staircase that led to upstairs, and there was a landing on it that you could see from the living room. And I remember one night at like 4 in the morning, I heard creaks coming down the steps,
You never want to hear that.
and I saw a long, dark figure with a top hat on him, and he
Ugh.
waved to me and pointed out to me, recognizing that I was down there. And then he kneeled up against our wall and tipped his hat to me.
Nope,
And
nope,
then
nope.
stared at me the rest of the night until I went to bed.
I would throw up. I would simply throw up.
Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, it was literally like one of the most insane experiences I've ever had, because that was I've told you this story multiple times, but
Mhm.
that was like basically my first experience with ghosts ever, period.
Wow.
And it was like so wild. Like,
Ugh.
cuz it was just so real.
Yeah.
Like I've just never had an experience like that vivid before.
Mhm.
Like, even the other ghost stories I've told you that have happened to me before,
Yeah.
I've not had anything as vivid as that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like I can picture it like 20 some years later. I can still picture it like in my head, and it's crazy.
It's because you saw it. And I think it's even more interesting to go off the fact that, like, so many people have seen this, and you
Mhm.
saw it when you were younger without any sort of influence.
Mhm.
Because many people are like, oh, well, because you've seen or heard of this, you have made it up in your head. But, like, you saw
No.
that when you were young before
No, yeah.
it
I
became a whole
literally
thing.
Yeah, because what happened is what was it? Like, you, me, and Nadia were having a sleepover, and we were
Yeah.
trying to find a documentary to watch, and we saw a Top Hat Man one,
Mm-hmm.
and you were obviously there, but this is more for our listeners.
Yeah.
I was freaking out because I
Mhm.
thought this was in my own personal experience and that no one else has had it.
Yeah.
But there's like a whole group of people who've had that experience before, and I'm like, that is crazy.
You're not alone. You were genuinely freaking out. And we were
I
like,
was.
Logan.
Like,
But,
remember,
like, how
I
can
was
you
like,
not?
I genuinely was in shock, like, for like 10 minutes, remember? I was literally
Yeah.
like,
Well, because it's also something like, part of you is like, well, did I make that up? Was it a dream? But then you have the validation also of so many other people saw this that you're like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
And this thing I saw all those years ago, it's real.
It's just like this huge phenomenon that so many kids were a part of, and it's like kind of amazing to think like an experience like I thought was so unique to me was had by other people, and it just like
Yeah.
it was just wild.
It
Like,
makes you united.
yeah, no, exactly. Like, it makes you feel less cuckoo also.
Less cuckoo
like
in the brain.
like, okay, like, people don't think I'm lying also.
Yeah. It's wild. It's one of my favorite stories. And I was like, okay, I got to include the Top Hat Man in this.
I'm so glad you did.
Yes, but here's some more information for some people who want to know just a little bit of the background
Okay.
of him as much as we can. So, physical accounts of the Top Hat Man are that he appears with male-defined characteristics.
Yes.
The Hat Man is a completely dark entity, like Logan said, most similar to what people could more easily identify as a shadow person. So, Hat Man wears a fedora and other, like, long brimmed hats. So, there's, like, different styles he's been seen in. Hat Man appears to be wearing some type of coat, often described as a trench coat. Some accounts say he has red eyes. However, most people, much like his clothing, his face is obscured, and that can make him a general outline of where he's located. So witnesses describe his height being about 6 feet tall, and a number of religions, legends, and belief systems described what are known as shades, shadowy spiritual beings or supernatural entities. So there isn't consensus on whether these figures are good, bad, or something else entirely. So some UFOologists believe
Oh.
Hat Man could be an alien species observing people.
What?
Isn't that so stinking cool?
Tiffany, I'm gonna throw up right now. If
What
an
if it-
alien was watching me while I was watching George Lopez at 4 in the morning, like,
Wait, are you more afraid of a demon watching you or an alien species? Which one frightens you more?
alien? I feel like, because it's like way more real to me. At least I know with
Yeah.
a demon I can throw holy water on it and it's good to go. But like,
There's
an
nothing stopping an alien. He's gonna take your entire body, reconstruct
He
it.
could have snatched me if I wanted to.
He could have snatched you. What if he did? What if he replaced your entire personality? Thanks, aliens. You made
What
a
if
Logan.
he's the reason I'm gay now? Like,
Thank you, Top Hat Man. Thank you.
Top Hat Man.
It's all thanks to him, truly.
No, yeah, I didn't see the red eyes with him. I
Yeah.
only saw like obscurity, like they said, like either obscurity or the red eyes. I didn't see red eyes. It was
Yeah.
it looked like it could even have been like a obviously it was a shadow figure, but it's just like
Yeah.
his whole thing was just
He's just a whole
entirely
shadow.
entirely a shadow.
Yeah, and it's interesting that people have different accounts of it. Because I'm like, people are still seeing the
Mhm.
same thing, but maybe it depends on how
Also
you're
depend.
seeing him, how he wants you to see you,
Yeah,
like
that's what
how,
I was thinking. How did
yeah,
he want to convey himself to
yeah, as
me?
evil, as
Ooh.
mysterious. If I saw a thing with red eyes, I'd be,
But nope,
Dunzo.
you're done.
I don't want to see
You're done.
no red eyes up in here. That's horrifying. So, data collected on Hatman has predominantly been first-hand accounts of personal experiences. People describe an entity watching either from a doorway, closet, or corner of a room. Most accounts say observation is all that happens, strengthening UFOologist claims. So,
Yeah.
that he's just observing them.
No, that's literally exactly right.
And he
Like
said he watched you for hours.
he watched me for hours.
That makes me sick to my stomach.
It was
That's so
like
gross.
it was so scary. Like imagine just like sitting there, like I said, like literally like watching George Lopez and just being like, oh, like it's not real, and then turning and he's just still there. And it was like for 2 hours. Like
Ugh,
he was still there when I fell asleep finally, but I just kept being like
that
staring,
is so
and, like out of the
scary.
corner of my eye, and I was like, oh my god, like he's still there.
Ugh, that reminds me of this story I have, but it's not anything to do with Top Hat Man. It's just the idea of like feeling like something's watching you.
Mm-hmm.
The way you were talking about that just described like this one time when I was really young. I was getting babysat by one of my mom's friends like in the middle of the night,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a bunch of well, they were Native Americans, so they had a bunch of Native American like art on their walls with
Mm-hmm.
like portraits.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the night, Stephanie and I both woke up at the same time, feeling like we were being stared at by some kind of like entity when we
yeah.
were little, and but it didn't seem like good energy.
Mm-hmm.
But you just gave me that same exact like feeling.
Oh wow.
But it felt like there was something dark
Was
there.
it one of the art pieces you thought was
I
watching
don't
you,
know.
or
It
like
felt
what?
like there might have been a couple, or it just felt like everything was staring at us, like all of the portraits and
Mm.
things. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if one of them had some sort of dark energy tied to it,
Oh yeah.
but you
Like, there was,
reminded
like,
me of it, and I was like, ew, I have to get this out.
anxiety.
Yeah,
No, literally, yeah. Like
yeah.
that's
Nothing to do with Top Hat Man. Just scary
scary.
experience as a child. Art having
Yeah.
a soul to it, but
Yeah. Well, that's like a big thing, like art having a soul to it. Like that's
Yeah.
like a huge thing in like books, literature, media, literally everything. Like,
yeah.
art just like feeling like a little too like
Mm-hmm.
intimate. Like
Also, like portraits. That's probably taken of a real live person, so like it
Mhm.
could have had some sort of angry person.
entity attached.
Yeah,
to it.
something
Yeah, it's
attached. You'd never
possible.
know, but
Yeah.
that's random. But I had to get it out of my system because you freaked
Oh.
me out with your story, and I was like, I need to get this dark energy out of
No,
my brain.
yeah. It's
But-
like even right now, like I'm starting to feel like I'm being like watched
I
again.
know.
Like I was.
At least I
like,
don't
I'm
have anything
like,
with eyes looking at us. Thank God.
oh.
You have
We
Mickey
have like
Mouse.
Scooby Doo, Mickey Mouse, I Love Lucy over
The
there.
essentials. You have all the goods behind me to look
Yeah.
at. You can't be too scared with Lucy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yet.
Yet. Until Lucy comes in the middle of the night. Anyway, other claims are that the Top Hat Man approached on people or hovers over the top of them, strengthening the scientific community that the Hat Man is experienced as sleep paralysis. So some people have experienced it with over top of
Yeah.
them. So that's one type of experience. Yet others claim to also see him during the daytime when they are still awake and going about their day. Still, other accounts state they experience seeing Hat Man during, after, or before a major traumatic event. The connection to Hat Man would seem to suggest a spiritual or emotional driven aspect to the shade or shadow figure, not always accounted for. So
Mhm.
sometimes it can be like a warning sign,
Yeah.
which is
Ooh.
wild.
Oh yeah, I think didn't they talk about that in the documentary? I think like that he can be a warning.
Yes, I think so. I'm seeming
Mhm.
to believe that. That is like a
Yeah.
warning sign.
I feel like this is gonna sound very niche, but I feel like you're gonna
Mhm.
understand completely what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like if he does appear during the daytime, it would be during like you know how like growing up sometimes like 4 p.m. on like a fall or summer day when the sun is like starting to kind of go down and everyone's kind of
Mhm.
tired and you're like by yourself.
You're
I feel
starting
like
to
it'd be
catch a few shadows in the room.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
that's when you would see him, like when it gets like kind of creepy out, but it's like kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Like you walk down a hallway and there's like just a little bit of light going through and just
Mhm.
everything's made of shadows,
Yeah.
but it's too light out to turn on the lights yet.
Oh no, I get it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
isn't that like a scary time? When I was a kid, like sometimes like
That is
that
a scary
time
time.
was like
It's a little icky if you ask
Yeah.
me. But I feel like if I saw him in the daytime, I feel like that would definitely feel more like an omen.
mhm.
But at night, that's just horrifying.
Yeah, no.
I don't care what you are in the middle of the night. You're not going to stand in my bedroom and stare over
Mhm.
me.
Well, When you
No.
also said daytime, I was wondering, like, does he, like, run through the woods or something like that? Like, has he been spotted, like, in the woods or something like that? Like,
That's
that'd be freaky.
horrifying.
Shadow people in the woods during the middle of the day, I'd lose it. I'd
Also, what
lose
if
my
he's
mind.
like that little thing that you think you see something in your corner of your room during the day, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm silly. There's nothing there.
That corner
He's
out of your
there.
eye is, like, real.
He's always there.
My God.
He's
I'm gonna
turning
check
into
the
your shadow.
website.
You're welcome. So, the Hat Man is one of those things that seems really hard to believe it exists until you experience it yourself. Unlike ghost hunting detection gear that is able to obtain viable evidence of the ghost world, there isn't really anything like that set up for the existence of the Hat Man. Is it a myth? Is it an interdimensional being? What about the scientific community and the claim of sleep paralysis? So maybe there's one reasonable conclusion. But one thing remains, the experience of Hat Man crosses borders and time periods. The question looming is that it's sleep paralysis. How and why do so many people experience the same thing? So
Yeah.
that makes me wonder, is it I think it might be a demon guy or
It
some
has
sort
to
of
be.
spiritual being.
Yeah, it
So-
has to be. Like, there's some phenomenon tied to it somehow.
There's some sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's, like, little kids experiencing the Top Hat Man right now, and then, like, 20 years from now, we get the same kind of
They're gonna have the same
spilled.
reaction, like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's a thing.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
what
feel
I
like
wonder.
maybe they'll probably catch on to it sooner than we would have, because I feel like there's more access,
The internet.
just the internet, stuff like that, and I don't know. I feel like kids are really with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
now.
I feel like they can Google it so much easier nowadays, but, like, when we were, like, 6, like, the internet existed.
I had a
but it's,
DSI.
like-
Not even a DSI. There was no DSI until I was like 8.
Yeah, I feel like when we were, like, 6 and, like, kids, whenever we had, like, a creepy or weird experience, we just had to be like, okay,
Well,
whatever.
I'm just being haunted. That's fine. That's
we
totally
just were
fine.
so casual about it, like, all right, cool.
If I get possessed, it's fine. It'll be fine. Now we're
Literally,
here.
though,
We wouldn't have the
literally.
mystery files without our experiences.
It's
Genuinely.
literally the whole reason the show
Genuinely.
exists.
And if you're wondering, before we get into the next segment, if you're wondering why I decided to do sleep paralysis demons, it's because I had a really bad nightmare the other night that was so strange. It was one of those that, like, you wake up and
Yeah.
the thing is, I kept waking up in the middle of it and being like, hey, Tiffany, calm down. This isn't real, da 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 da. And then I kept slipping back into the dream while I knew I was awake. And it was
boy.
freaking me out. But
Mm.
I'm wondering, do you want me to read it or do you want me to? I have it written down because it was really creepy. So I was like, I could share it potentially.
Yeah, if you
You
want
want
to
me to
share
share
your
it?
nightmare, please go.
Because it's not necessarily sleep paralysis. And I thought about making this episode like nightmares and sleep paralysis.
But I think we can call it still, like, sleep paralysis and still have,
Yeah.
like, nightmares, because nightmares kind of still consist of sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Still a
I
nightmare
just like
world.
it all. I like to be freaked. Let's see. So here's the dream. I apologize in advance.
She's got the notes app open.
I got the notes app. Well, now I'm like, maybe I won't share the first part a little bit because it's kind of like, it's about work. I'll tell you after. It's literally not bad. It's just like, I don't want work drama up in here. So I will just say the dream started when I was heading to some secondhand thrift store. I walk in and my boss is there with some guy, like not just some guy that worked at the store.
Some guy.
Some guy that worked at the store. And after I exited the store, some man on the street stopped me and told me that I was living in a place that was cursed by the devil.
What?
And I needed to perform a cleansing ritual. I needed to get out of there for my own safety, or else I was like gonna die and stuff. So then he handed me this strange vial of liquid and told me to drink a little when I was in my home, and that I needed to start a prayer, and I couldn't get distracted if I was praying because then it could become very dangerous for me and my soul.
Oh my God, what?
So then he told me to keep the prayer going until like the room felt light. Like I felt light. So I headed home now, very afraid. I walked to a spot in my living room and realized the vial had dripped some red liquid on the carpet. And where it had dripped on the carpet, it began to like singe and smoke.
Like fire?
Yeah, it started to
Oh
singe and
my
smoke on the
God.
carpet. After that, I sat down and started to drink a little of the little vial of liquid. I began praying this song I remember singing in some choir a long time ago, and I don't remember what it translates to, but it's like a Hebrew song, and it says like Baruch Hashem Adonai like over and over in this song. So I was singing that in my dream over and over. I kept going until like it felt right, and then I realized that for some reason like my siblings Stephanie and Michael were just sitting in the room staring at
Just
me.
like hanging out?
Yeah, and
like,
I
this
didn't realize
happen.
that they were in there. And I guess they were just watching me the whole time. And then after I was finished, they like looked at me all like concerned and confused. And so then I like freaked out on them and was like ranting on how they now needed to do this ritual because they were in danger. And then Michael, like my little brother, thought I was like just joking with him and I was trying to convince him. And I was like almost crying, so he eventually started to give into it.
Oh my god.
So then I had them drink from the vial, and there wasn't much liquid in it now. Like, so they were just trying to like dab a little bit on their tongues to get some of it in their mouth, so they were okay. Okay. So then we began the cleansing again, and this time in the middle, Michael walked away in a trance as it was happening, and he was like crying when I brought him back. So I went to go grab him because I was like, he has to be over here. Like, he can't be leaving like that. So then I brought him back, and the lights started flickering. And this is like when I woke up from the dream, the initial first time. And so I was like in my room, like awake, freaking out. And then I closed my eyes again because I'm like, okay, I'm awake. Like, nothing's going to happen again. Close my eyes. Dream starts like that. So then I see a little boy with like blonde hair and a creepy smile, like run around a corner, and I just hear him laughing. And then I open my eyes again because I'm like, Tiffany, you're not asleep. Stop.
Yeah, like, stop. You're fine.
Like, stop seeing all this stuff. I'm like trying to think of like positive things, like trying not to see it. And then I close my eyes again because I'm like, okay, I'm refreshed, like it's fine. And then at that point, I see like a bunch of siblings, like random family members, not my family members, just random people, standing around me in like portrait styles, just like looking at me.
What?
Except none of them have faces.
Oh my god.
And that's when I started writing it in my notes app because I was very afraid. And that's
Oh
like
my
the
God.
experience. But that was what made me want to do this episode because I'm like, I keep having
that dream.
dreams like
Oh my
that, like
God.
nightmares that I'm like, I'm awake. Like, I wake up from them and then I close my eyes and I'm back in it. Like
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
But it's sort of like sleep paralysis because I know I'm awake and then I close my eyes.
and then you're
the
back
dream.
in it and you're like, no, it's
Yeah.
fine.
But like
Yeah.
I'm trapped in the dream until I can finish it.
Being self-aware in a dream is crazy. 'Cause
Yeah,
I've
'cause you're
had that
like,
happen to
why
me a
is this
couple of times.
happening?
Like, knowing, like, oh, I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Horrifying.
Yeah, literally.
Horrifying.
Wow.
That's a dream that made this episode happen. So, hey, shout out.
Thank you, production team of Tiffany's Nightmare.
Thank you, Nightmares. You make it all happen for me.
I will say, just of like how I like know you as a person, it sounds like, obviously because it's a nightmare, it's supposed to be like all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it feels like a lot of the things like you're anxious about or have like devoured in like media or like
Yeah.
your favorite horror movies were all like put together
there.
into one thing.
Yeah, and I feel like especially the stuff with the vial. Have you seen Archive 81 yet?
I have not yet.
I won't say anything, but the
Okay.
visuals of that reminded me of some stuff in that
Okay.
show, which also literally watch it.
Is it horror?
It's like thriller horror. There's some horror in
I
there.
didn't know it was horror. I just thought it was like mystery.
No,
Okay.
it's really good. Benjamin
And
and I
it's
binged
Pittsburgh
it.
too, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. It's
We had-
Pittsburgh.
We had friends who worked on it, right? Or
Yeah.
at least, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
really good. Binged it in a day. Obsessed. Love
I'm
it.
gonna have to watch.
I
it. That sounds
completely
really
forgot
good.
about it until I was explaining the dream again, and I was like,
I'm gonna have
because
to watch it.
it's not the
then.
same premise at all, the dream, but like it has the visuals.
Oh darn.
The visuals of like the place, the house that was cursed that I live in,
Mhm.
kind of reminded me of that show.
Okay.
So,
I'll definitely have to give it a watch then. That
watch
sounds
it.
exciting.
But let's get into some other experiences, right?
Well, you should post that one on Reddit.
I should. I get these
should.
Reddit people. I'm like, hey. Also, this is my first time on Reddit, so shout out.
Ever?
Ever.
You seem
Can you
like
believe
such a
it?
Reddit person though.
I know.
That's
Well, the thing is,
crazy.
I've always heard different stories from Reddit, but through other media, like through
Personally,
podcasts.
Reddit's fun for me. I don't like post on it, but like I like seeing everyone else post.
Yeah, but I'm like, I might get into it because this whole stream of people were delightful.
Good place to find mysteries too.
It is a good place.
Good place.
I'm gonna take a sip of my water. I'm hoarse.
Yeah, just take a little parched drink.
I'm hoarse.
Been going at it here.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I've had nightmares like that before. Like I try to, this is more of like a peaceful like thing I'm talking about here,
Yeah.
but like I like to kind of have control over my dreams sometimes. So like I try to like close my eyes and like think
Hmm.
of like one location. I'm like, okay, I'm at this place, like I am for sure there.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like drift off to sleep. For me, my happy place, I don't know if this would ever work for you, but I do like
Mhm.
the beach. So I go like, I'm on like the beach side, like it's nice out, it's like 3 p.m., like I can smell the air, and then I try to like visualize that and fall asleep. And then when I go to
Yeah.
bed, I'm on the beach until like whatever the next part of the dream ends up being.
Yeah, I
So-
like that. It's like a grounding exercise.
Yeah, so if you ever need it, try to be like beach, beach, beach. Just hope
beach.
the monsters don't come to said beach.
I'll have to try it. You know me and my
Yeah.
issues with
Mhm.
nightmares, so.
Yeah.
But I think I definitely have had sleep paralysis situations
Mm-hmm.
based on. There's only one that was real. Well, maybe two, but the one that I was with you,
Yeah.
that we were in the living room. Also, I think you might have also had an experience. So
I did
you
have
can
an
share that now before we
experience.
get into these. Do you want to share yours first? Since we're doing personal stories, that was part of this episode too. I wanted to tell personal
Yeah,
stuff. So
sure.
get into your story.
So this happened back when we were in college. Was it junior year? Junior year?
Junior year, maybe the spring. I don't remember.
June. It was either spring or fall. Might have been fall of junior year. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
you, me, and I think it was Danielle. We were watching a movie out in the living room, and I was sleeping on the couch, and I just kind of passed out
Mm-hmm.
completely. And you can give your side of the story because I don't really know like what you guys heard, but like I just like woke up and I like couldn't move basically, and then I saw like literally like a giant group of shadow people surrounding the couch and like staring at me like almost like an omen like type
Mm-hmm.
of thing. I think I described it to you. It was really niche, but it's like that one episode of Lilo and Stitch where the ghost people come at the end,
Mm-hmm.
like, and they're like all like just staring down at me,
Yeah.
and I like could not move, and I was like freaking
Ugh.
out. And I think I may have called for like help
Oh no, you
like
did.
multiple
You
times,
did.
like freaking out. I did.
Yeah. Well, basically, what happened on our end is Danielle and I went into our room to go to sleep because you were asleep on the couch, and we were like, okay, let's just let him, because maybe you'll
Mhm.
wake up and want to watch the show or the movie, whatever we had on. So we
Yeah.
both like went back to our room, asleep for like a hot minute, and then all of a sudden, Danielle wakes me up. She's like, "Is Logan yelling?" And then I hear you yelling like, "Help! Help!" Like freaking out in the living room, and we're
Oh
like,
my
"Oh my gosh!
god.
Like, is he okay?" And we go out there, and you just look like horrified. Like I don't
Wow.
like it's almost like you were like in shock, like just staring.
Yeah, because I thought they were really in the
And for
room.
a second, you didn't really answer us, and we were like, Logan, like, are you okay? And you were like,
Yeah.
you just couldn't really respond at first.
I think like I was really quiet after that too, because that was the first time I've ever had like a sleep paralysis thing happen to me. I think I actually forgot that happened till just
Yeah.
now. That
Yeah.
was my heart's racing a little bit just
I
thinking about it
know.
because it was crazy. It
Mm-hmm.
was so intense. Like I think I remember like I stood up, like I didn't sit up, I like sat up, and I literally was just like this for a second because like my eyes
They
were
were,
so disoriented.
yeah.
I had no idea where I was for a
Yeah.
little
You could
bit.
tell. You looked just very out of it, and your eyes were also like very bloodshot and just like, what the heck
Oh
is
my
happening?
gosh.
You just look scared.
No, yeah, that was the first time. I don't know why it like clicked with me in that regard though, because I didn't have like a bad day or anything. Like it was a
Yeah.
pretty standard day for us.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of these are like, oh, if you have XYZ, if like something like
Hmm.
crazy is happening in your life. But I feel like both of us are also just kind of like anxious people. So I
Hmm.
think anxiety can also be linked to some of this, but like
Yeah,
I feel like that was definitely paranormal though.
yeah.
A lot of this is, and I feel
Mm.
like that was just too crazy of an experience. It's hard for me to believe that it wasn't something paranormal, especially with so many shadowy figures
Yeah, no,
standing around you.
and like I might have talked about this on the podcast before, but like I think this like the episode where this hones in on it, but like
Mhm.
for our listeners too, I have just had experience with shadow people my entire life. Like it's
Yeah.
just been one supernatural experience that has followed me no matter what I do. Like
Yeah.
I don't ask for it necessarily, but it comes like I just kind of have to deal with it. But it's just crazy how many experiences I've had with shadow people because it was that the top hat man and then the whole like Gettysburg experience, which I want to
Yeah.
save for another episode if we ever do
Yes.
Gettysburg. But it's crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
Horrifying. I feel so bad for you.
Yeah, what was yours?
So I feel like I'll just share. I'll share two, and then maybe if later if we have more time.
Mhm.
But the two that at least, well, the one that you were definitely there for is the time that I think we were hanging out with maybe like Nathaniel
Mhm.
and Danielle. I don't remember who else was there. Maybe Izzy. I honestly don't remember all the people. I just remember it was you and Nathaniel definitely.
Mm.
Danielle, no, Danielle was there, but I was sleeping on that chair in our old living room,
Mm.
and you guys were all
Mhm.
on the couch, and I remember like I started to fall asleep, and all of a sudden like I was tied up in a basement. Like I remember like
Yeah.
sitting in that chair, and I was like, okay, I'm awake, but I had started drifting off, and I was like, no, I'm awake. And then I recognized like I'm in a chair in a basement now, but I'm still in the
Yeah.
living room. Like I'm recognizing all of this.
Oh my
And all of
god.
a sudden, this man with like a very long, pale white face with like very like a huge nose and like just sunk in like sockets where his eyes should
Mm.
be, like
Mhm.
starts coming closer and closer to me. And I'm like tied in this chair, and I'm starting to freak out because he's like getting closer and closer and closer. And
Mm.
then all of a sudden his face is so close to my face, and it's like shaking vigorously. And
Oh
I
my
start freaking
god.
out in this chair. And I don't know like what I did in the moment with you guys, but I remember like freaking out and like getting out of that situation, like waking up and being
Yeah.
like, I'm in the living room, I'm okay. And then
Mhm.
I remember like saying, like you guys said I was saying something after that about like fingers in the sink or something randomly.
I think so. I don't remember exactly like what you said, but I do remember you like were talking in your sleep a lot, and we were kind of like, "What? Like, what
Yeah.
are you talking about? Like, what's happening?"
Like, I don't remember much
Um,
about what happened in between. I remember I woke up and I was freaked out, and then I think I drifted off again, and I remember seeing something in the sink, like bloody fingers
mhm.
or something, and then you
Yeah,
guys had, I think it was Nathaniel might have said that I said something about bloody fingers in the
yeah. I think
sink.
it was him who said like
So
you were saying
that
stuff.
was that experience, but it was just so weird because I kept like grounding myself saying, Tiffany, you're in the living room.
Yeah.
But it was the same experience like how I had like the other night. Like I would say I'm awake, but I would still just go right
Mhm.
back into that.
Yeah, I remember you were flinching a lot that night. I remember you were like tossing and turning a lot in your chair. Like
Yeah.
we were definitely like worried about you because I think we were about to like wake you up too, but like you
Yeah.
woke yourself up before we had the chance to. It was
Yeah.
wild. I think we might have talked about after that. I think I was like trying to. I don't remember, but I think I was trying to talk to you about like different like demons it could have been or something like that. I think you
Mhm.
said something. You said it was like some type of demon, and I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, is it this thing?" And then I looked it up and I showed it to you. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly off the top of my head, but do you remember that?
I
Like,
remember, but I don't remember what type of demon it was. Like I vaguely remember this
cause
conversation.
you like mentioned like the guy with the swollen in eyes. I have to look back because that was like
Mhm.
almost 2, maybe 3 years ago.
Yes.
But I remember like I told you I was like, "Oh, it sounds like this creature that I've heard of before," and I showed it to
Yeah.
you, and you were kind of like,
Well,
"That sounds like kind of
now I like
right."
want to see it, so we'll have to do that after the show.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and search. That's
Yes.
crazy.
But then, just two other experiences that are like kind of brief, but like I feel
Mm.
like these might have been sleep paralysis because they actively were seen inside of my room, but like I don't, it's just they're so hard to explain. So the first one,
Mhm.
I might have told the story a billion times, and if I have, let me know. But basically, it was freshman year. I might have told this on the show already. Do you think I did?
I
My
don't
freshman
think
year
so.
bathroom.
I know this
Yeah.
story, but I don't think you
But
have.
for the listeners, a freshman year, I had fallen asleep in another chair. Maybe I shouldn't sleep in chairs. I had fallen asleep in a chair that was at the end of my roommate's bed, and right beside this chair, there was a very small bathroom to the left of it. So I'd fallen asleep in this chair, and I remember like getting up to like walk into the bathroom, and like both of the people that were in my room at that point were just like sitting doing their thing. And I had walked over to the bathroom, and I see this woman in the bathroom with this long black hair,
Yes,
the
yes. Oh my
horrible
god,
black stringy
yes.
hair, and she just started like peeling her face
Her
off, her
skin.
skin
Yeah, her
in the sink,
skin.
and it was like bleeding.
Mhm.
And I like looked, I remember looking back in my like room and seeing the two people in my room still like hanging out doing exactly what they were doing like as I was in the chair. So like nothing had
Yeah.
changed. One person was playing guitar here, another person on their phone, like everyone's just chilling. I look back at her and she looks me dead in the eyes and she's like, "Why can't they see me?" And I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Why
Yeah.
can't they
No,
see
yeah,
you?"
you yes, I've heard this story.
And then
Oh
I was
my god.
horrified and I keep looking back at them and back to her and then I'm
Mhm.
suddenly back in the chair and I'm freaking out. And I
Yeah.
like then I'm like I guess awake or whatever you want to call it and like my people in my room can hear me and I'm like, "Guys, did you see the woman in the bathroom?" And they think I'm like joking.
Yeah.
But like
And you're like fully not
yeah, and I'm
joking.
not joking. They didn't see her. They don't know if I got
Mhm.
up. They weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
But that was that experience, and it was horrifying.
It was very Bloody Mary. Very
Very Bloody
much.
Mary.
Very
Like she
Bloody
was, there was
Mary.
literally blood pouring out of her face into the sink as she
Yeah.
was. She
No,
was.
I remember this story. I
Yeah.
remember you told, like, I remember you, because Danielle already knew it, and Danielle was with us when you told it to me, and
Yeah.
she was like, Danielle was even like, oh yeah, like this was crazy,
This
like
was
from what,
crazy.
like,
Yeah.
that's like, I remember you talking about that, like that was such a,
Ugh.
I feel like that's such a wild sleep paralysis experience, or like even like with the
Yeah.
demon, like,
Like whatever it might have been. Like I don't
mhm.
know if I was sleeping, if I actually got up, what exactly
Yeah,
happened. But then the other one I have is super duper short and simple. It was just I was sleeping in my bed at my old apartment with my mom. And for some reason that night I decided to sleep on the opposite side of my bed, which meant that I could see my window from my bed. And I think I've already told you this too. But I was sleeping on this end of my bed, and I remember
mm-mm.
waking up in the middle of the night, and I see this woman with like short white hair, like just standing outside of my window staring at me.
Yeah,
And I remember like squeezing my eyes shut to not see her, but I would keep opening my eyes, and every time I would blink, she would get closer and closer and closer.
hmm,
And then on the last time before she got into the window, I woke up, and she wasn't there. But
yeah,
I was freaking out because I
oh
was
my
convinced she was
god.
in my room because I could physically feel myself blinking. So
Mhm.
I'm like, why do I see her? Because I would close my eyes, it was dark, open my eyes, and see the window and her standing there.
Mhm.
But then on the last blink, she wasn't there.
That's
But
crazy.
I'm like, so was that a dream? Was that real?
Like what happened?
Also,
Yeah.
my eyes could blink.
Yeah.
And most sleep paralysis, it's just like
Like
maybe
you're
you
up.
maybe you
Yeah.
can blink in sleep paralysis. All I've heard is like
Yeah.
eyes are wide open. But those are some of my experiences. I have plenty, but I won't get into all of those. But
Wow.
those are the few ones that scared the heck out of me. But
Wow.
yeah.
That last one reminds me of the witch we saw in downtown.
Yeah, the downtown witch.
The downtown witch. Oh my gosh.
She was just scary.
She's I think we've talked about her on the show before. I think there's definitely an episode where we have, but that
Yeah.
was another like absolutely not.
Yes, shout out.
Absolutely not.
We were like freaking out in our room looking for her on the street. I saw it. We saw her. We thought we were joshing. Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Horrifying.
Nope. She was real.
She was real, and her hair was horrifying. Never want to see her again.
Oh my gosh.
But since we got to tell some of our experiences, now we can finally get into some Reddit stories. We'll just
Reddit
give
stories.
a few, some of their firsthand experiences. So I just kept most of these people anonymous, but you could always check out the sleep paralysis subreddit page that we mentioned previously. Those are all stories from there, but I didn't want to give away their names if they weren't comfortable.
Yeah.
So check it out. They're all there for you.
Yeah, just to take a like, don't take any chances. Yeah.
Yeah, don't take any chances. So go check them out if you want to see them and see their names and everything. So this little story is called Sleep Paralysis, and I felt it.
Oh.
So, this is the person. Here's the story. So, hello. I had sleep paralysis maybe a year ago, and I didn't realize it since in a church I was unable to move. So, the guy was in a church, woman, whoever they are. In a church, unable to move. There were long seats, light wood, and I couldn't do anything. I could only stare straight ahead, towards the podium, and there was a nun slowly walking towards me.
Ooh.
It touched me on my shoulder, and then I woke up and I still felt it. I shook my shoulder and it felt like an object slid off. Now, to this day, I have way too many crosses in my room, but the only thing I know was this felt so incredibly real. I felt it after waking up, and I had to shake my shoulder to get it off. So that
Wait.
was like a...
What? Like, what was it doing to the
He
shoulder?
physically felt the nun's,
Like hand?
slide down the back of his shoulder.
Oh. And this was when he was just sleeping in church.
Well, he was awake in church, I think,
Oh,
but
wow.
maybe he did fall asleep. He had a
Ooh.
sleep paralysis incident in church.
So maybe he fell asleep, woke up, and
Yeah,
then that's when it...
But like he couldn't move or anything.
Oh
but he
my
saw
God.
this scary nun coming.
And imagine
towards
the
him.
whole congregation's there, and there's like a
Yeah.
preacher, and you just see this thing.
What a place to have an
I-
experience like that.
When I had my sleep paralysis, like honestly, like if I were him, I would have been screaming.
Yeah.
Like I would have been like, people. Are
Imagine
like, "What is
you start screaming in
wrong
a
with
church,
you?"
people would think you were getting possessed.
No, literally, yeah.
Ooh, that's so creepy.
And then if you had to explain it to them afterwards, oh
yeah, they'd be like, okay,
Banish.
that's
They'd
Satan.
banish you. They'd
That's
be
whole
like-
Satan. Someone throw holy water
like,
on
see
that.
ya.
Throw it on there. So yeah, some of these are pretty simple. Other ones
Yeah.
are like, I just want to like show different experiences and like
Yeah.
what they felt, what they saw,
Mhm.
just so we can get to the
Yeah.
bottom of it all. So this one's just called Shadow Toys.
Ooh, great.
This one's kind of fun. Don't get me wrong. So my first experience with sleep paralysis was around the age of 9. I awoke from what I remember to be a dreamless sleep, and I thought that I was experiencing a dream. I was tightly tucked under the blankets, and since I couldn't move, I hallucinated that I was chained to the bed rather than under blankets. Then slowly, from over the sides of the bed, I saw little shadow creatures crawling up over the side of the bed. In the original Toy Story movie, there was a kid who had Frankenstein monster toys.
Oh yeah.
That were just different parts of different toys stocked together. So a baby's head with spider legs, a fishing pole with human legs, things like that. So, those were the things that I saw climbing onto my chest and skittering back and forth across my body. The baby head spider stopped right in front of my face and just stood there motionless, staring at me. Despite the fact that my eyes were adjusted to the darkness finally, and it was so close to my face, it was still nothing more than a silhouette. It sat there while the rest of the toys continued to crawl all over me until I was finally able to move again. Then they all faded away.
Ooh.
Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
I hate that they explained it as skittering.
Yeah.
It skittered across my body.
Oh my god. And they
Ew.
probably felt like little bugs or something
Yeah,
all over
Little
them.
demon bugs.
Oh, oh my god.
It freaked me out. And he was like, oh, it's like the Toy Story thing. That scared me as a kid.
Uh-huh.
That scared the heck of me.
No, yeah, no, I think it scared a lot of kids.
Mhm.
I guess this is a good time to bring it up, but I feel like a lot of sleep paralysis or like nightmares come from a place of like horror movies or like things you watch as a kid that have such an effect on you.
Oh, definitely.
Because even when you were talking about your nightmare that you had recently, when I said
Mhm.
like it was all this stuff,
Oh,
some
yeah.
of the stuff you mentioned felt very Amityville horror.
Yeah.
So I literally was like, and that's like, I know that's one of your favorites. So I was like, I
Yeah.
feel like that definitely plays into it also.
No, there's definitely so many,
Hmm.
like, don't grow up watching horror movies, and that's coming from a mystery podcast. It has caused so many anxiety, nightmare issues. Love them.
Literally,
Don't get
like,
me wrong.
literally, like, Benjamin, like, you and I have talked about, like, movies before, and Benjamin was like, yeah, you two shouldn't have been watching that.
Yeah, at age like 5,
Who
watching
is-
Amityville Horror. No wonder. I remember waking up at the age of 5 with like the movie credits. The movie, like when you go to press a play on the movie.
Yeah.
The DVD was in the DVD player, and at the beginning of Amityville Horror, it just has like the guy walking with the axe across the screen, and I was always too horrified to turn it off, so it just went on the entire night.
This is random, but did you
Yeah.
used to watch the Chiller Network when you weren't allowed
Yeah.
to? Oh my god, I used to watch
me and
Chiller.
my mom didn't care. That's why. That's why
I was like 8 when I would watch Chiller by myself, like all the
Chiller,
time.
Oxygen, what is it? True TV.
Yeah.
They all had the haunting shows, Discovery, all of it.
Like there is no reason why I was watching The Hills Have Eyes at 8 years old.
I haven't even seen that. I'm still too scared.
The
Everyone
Hills Have
like
Eyes is terrifying.
everyone has warned me not
It
to.
is so scary.
Same with is it the Human Centipede? People say that's horrifying.
I've never
seen
seen
it.
The Human Centipede.
I've
but
got so many warnings. I'm like, if I see that, I think I'm done. I think my body will literally explode from fear, and I think I'm okay without all of that. I've had enough fear to last my life. I'm perfectly fine. But
Maybe in the next lifetime we'll
The
watch
next
it,
lifetime.
but not this one.
But I mean, if you want to, as a kid, watch horror movies, go ahead. But I'm just warning you that you're set up for a life of fear. But also, coming from me, the day after I had that horrible nightmare, I went and watched some scary stuff. So.
Yeah.
Because I'm stupid, but I like thrill of fear, you know?
Yeah. No, me too.
Thrill me up. That's why you have a mystery podcast.
Exactly.
So let's get into another story. This one's called The Things I've Seen During Sleep Paralysis. So I've had it 5 times in the last 4 years. That's a pretty significant amount of times to have it.
Yeah.
But 5 times in the last 4 years, and it is horrifying. But here's the things I've seen. A robed person in a porcelain mask talking to me and trying to choke me. A tall, faceless man in tattered robes just staring at me.
Oh
A
my God.
blood-covered little girl crying and telling me to not let him find me. And a feathered person in a bird masquerade mask sitting on top of me screaming and laughing. And
Like
a tall,
a bird?
like a whole feathered creature
Oh, absolutely not.
screaming and laughing on top of you. No thanks. And a tall, thin figure with 2 leech-like mouths on the side of its face, 4 arms and covered in eyes, just sitting at the corner of my room staring. And then it asked, like, has anyone else seen these particular hallucinations? So then there was a response by some other person.
Oh.
They said, it wasn't really a response to much of the questions, but they said not everyone with sleep paralysis can see, which this freaked me out. So some only hear things. So want to know what's really disturbing? I'm profoundly deaf, and I heard a demon telepathically talk and scream at me. I don't know which is worse, seeing a demon or hearing a demon.
When you can't hear.
When
oh
you
my
can't
God.
hear, hearing it. Can you imagine
That
not
is
being able to hear and
crazy.
hearing something?
Like being able to understand, like hearing, like, oh my God, I
Like-
wouldn't know what to do.
Like, not only would it be scary because, oh, you can't hear and you're hearing something,
Yeah.
but to hear, like, a demon
Yeah.
done.
You think you're going crazy
Yeah,
or
that would be so
something.
scary.
Or like even if it was like a scientific thing, like I could imagine like they were like trying to like understand like what it would mean to hear something too. Like,
Yeah.
So like that's crazy that like their dream was able to manifest like having them hear something. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
So gross. And, like, I wanted to
Wow.
include some of these because I think it also goes back to, like, is it a scientific reasoning? Because stuff like the hearing, the feeling touched, it's like that goes beyond a little bit of, like, I'm in REM sleep and I've reached a certain
Yeah.
point of REM sleep with all
Like,
these
I
different
can feel
elements.
this thing, yeah.
Yeah, like, it makes me believe that maybe it is something else.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe there are some people who have, like, telepathically experienced some sort of hearing.
Yeah.
Because I know there's experience of, like, people who are blind who sometimes can see, like, in their dreams, like, different colors and that type of stuff. But, like, that's a little too specific. Like, I'm hearing
Yeah.
a demon
Yeah.
in this experience.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
horrifying.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
But yes. So
What a
there's these
wild
ones.
reply to that story.
I know. I'd be like,
Wow.
I don't like all this energy. So, think we have time for one more?
Yeah, we have time for one more.
Okay. So, this one is just called A Voice and Lingering Face.
Ooh.
So, it says, just woke up from sleep paralysis dream. Gonna be a bit of a rant, so sorry in advance, and hope this doesn't break any rules. So, in my dream, I woke up downstairs in my old room and freaked out. I tried to talk to my parents. The room is next to my old one. but their voices were distorted and I became paralyzed in their doorway. Next thing I knew, I was in my sister's room, which is across from my current room, trying to talk to her. But every time I tried to say something, I get frozen and struggle to say what I was trying to say. Then a voice, clear as day, says something along the lines of, "Have you spoken to Juliet?" Or, "Don't speak to Juliet." And then I woke up.
What?
Every time I blinked following waking up, I saw this white mask-like face that got closer when I closed my eyes.
No. Wait.
That's like but I don't know if it's the same
like the witch.
person. It's like that person from my dream. So I'm genuinely freaked out by this instance because most of my previous sleep paralysis instances would be waking up frozen with either a shadow man in the corner of my room behind the door or feeling like someone is sitting next to me on the bed. Never has anything spoken to me or followed me after I was done being paralyzed. I actually cried after this. Please, someone tell
Wow.
me they experienced something similar. Please.
Are there any
Yeah.
replies to it or no?
No reply. Oh, but there's one
No.
more I think I might share, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Because the title is very scary. But back to that one. Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
It feels very similar. Like, that's crazy, like, the idea of, like, being able to, like, blink and, like, the thing gets closer and closer.
Yeah.
I feel like that's, like, a jump scare method tale as old as time,
It is.
too. Like, oh
It's
my
those
God.
movies, man. And
Oh
the
my
demons.
God.
Those demons. But we'll do one more just because the title is very enticing and I have to
Yeah.
read it. This one's called Man Covered in Blood.
Great.
I have to read it. Also, I'm sorry if you're listening to this at night, guys. Just go watch some Dragon Tales or something after.
If you if you're listening to this episode, you'll see the title. So I
Yeah.
will hope that you take the
You don't-
discretion to watch this at night.
Yeah. Don't do this while you're trying to sleep.
Well, I
actually.
also watch a lot of horror stuff at night when I shouldn't. Like,
Yeah, and that's probably why we have issues.
I'll watch it like blame it on like I think it's George videos that are like
Oh.
that like creepy like creepy pastas or like things
Oh.
like that. Like before I go to bed, I'm like, yeah, this is fine.
This is fine to like watch and stuff and read.
Yeah, this
No.
is cool.
So positive before bedtime. So, this story is called Man Covered in Blood. I've only experienced sleep paralysis one time in my life, October 28th, 2019. Oh, so she was close to Halloween. So I was 19 years old and was doing a study abroad gap year. At the time of my experience, I was living in Bangkok, Thailand for 6 weeks. That night, I had a very weird dream, and all I really vividly remember from my dream was a man who I don't recall ever seeing in my life, and in my dream he was covered in blood, face and all. When I woke up from the dream, I was unable to speak, and the only part of my body I was able to move were my eyes. I could hear my roommate Mitch snoring on the bed on the other side of the room, so I figured he was asleep. And at the corner of the room, I saw the outline of a person just standing there. It was too dark to see who it was. All I could see was the outline. Next thing I knew, the figure began floating towards my bed. I say floating because it moved closer and closer to me without moving any part of its body. The only light in the room was a ray of moonlight coming in through the window, and as soon as the human figure entered the ray of moonlight at the foot of my bed, I immediately recognized it to be the man covered in blood that I had seen in the dream I had just woken up from. As soon as I was able to recognize the man from my dream, I regained control of my body. I sat up so fast and ran over to the other side of the room to turn the light on. The sound of the running across the room woke up Mitch, who then asked, "Dude, you good?" It was when he asked this that I realized I was absolutely drenched in sweat. I could tell that I startled him, but all I said in response was, "I think I just had sleep paralysis." I then checked the time and it was 2:47 a.m. Mitch stayed up with me for half the night while I talked about what I just experienced. And yeah, that was his whole experience. One of the scariest things he said ever happened in his entire
Wow.
life. Also, interesting that I was close to witching hour. So
Yeah. I think like that one is like really good because I feel like it kind of shows like a whole experience because I actually forgot like when I had my sleep paralysis experience, like I was so sweaty. Like I can like just remember how like drenched I felt and disoriented and like
yeah,
looking at the time, like I think it was like 2:30 I think when you guys found
close to
me.
that witching hour. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I
Ugh.
just remember like that feeling. So I think that person did a really good job of like
Like
talking about
showing
the
what it's
sweat
like.
that you're in, and, like, the
Yeah.
anxiety and like the where am I, like what's happening of it all.
Very disorienting.
Wow.
Disorienting event. So
Disorienting, yes.
yes. Ugh.
Wow.
But yeah, that was actually the last story. I didn't realize. So
Oh,
it's
so we got through
perfect.
the whole thing.
We did. I wanted to tell all the
Wow.
experiences. So basically, those are some terrifying stories brought to you by some anonymous Reddit users found on the subreddit Sleep Paralysis Logs. So go check
wanna
that
go-
out.
yeah.
There's plenty of other stories if you're looking for some energy like this. So go check them out.
I kind of want to check those out. That sounds.
I
Really
know
fun.
there were some other really good ones. I just picked a few that I was
that
like,
you thought were interesting.
yeah, and I didn't get to read all the way through them because I wanted to be a surprise too. But just proof checking. But these stories leave me with a lot of unanswered questions. How can people feel, hear, and see these things, these so-called hallucinations so vividly? How have so many people seen the same sleep demon, the Top Hat Man? Are
Yeah.
all these answers really in the science, or something more disturbing or paranormal to blame? What do you think, Logan? What are your thoughts?
Back to like I guess what I said like earlier, like in the way beginning of the episode, like I do think like it is one of those things where like I think it can be both. I think they're like sleep paralysis is like a real thing, like
Yeah.
scientifically proven that like this happens even when people can't see things. But I do think like demons do and ghosts like actually do interfere with that kind of stuff and like do mess with your psyche a
Yeah.
lot. Just because like for me like the experiences that I had like specifically with the Top Hat Man, um from what at least I can remember in that experience, like I could still move. Like I was able,
Mhm.
like I could have gone up those stairs if I so chose, but I was so struck with fear like I really
Yeah.
did not want to. But like I still had full control of my body, so it's like one of those things like how do you explain that, you
Yeah.
know? It's like I don't think that was sleep paralysis for me because I was able to move.
Mhm.
Or it's just like crazy because it's like almost messing with your head because like part of me is like, but did my brain just want me to think I had control over moving, you know? It's just like one of
Yeah.
those like inner psyche things, like was I actually able to move? Did I
Yeah.
really try? Like it's just
And I'm
like
sure like a lot of people think that, like when they're so
yeah.
struck with fear, I think the normal response
Hmm.
is to like one of them is freeze, like you're going to freeze
Yeah.
until you feel safe enough to move again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's possible maybe I like wasn't able to move, but I just know like that experience was just so like vivid for me. Like it's just like it's crazy. So I'm definitely like a firm believer in like both. I do think like the Top Hat Man is definitely an experience where I think could be a demon.
Yeah.
Or honestly, like I think the Top Hat Man is the closest to a boogeyman that I can
Oh,
think of.
yes.
Very much a boogeyman type of style.
Absolutely.
So but there's been other times I've had like sleep paralysis fully and I'm like, okay, like
This is
I
easy.
know and I can tell I feel like I can tell personally for me what's the difference between a nightmare
Mhm.
and then like, oh, I'm seeing ghosts today.
Yeah, same. I don't know.
Yeah. What about you?
I feel like it's hard for me to really choose. I will say I do believe there's some sort of sleep paralysis that is based in science. Like I'm not going to question that because I feel
Mhm.
like especially like the element of like just nightmares in general, like
Yeah.
they can be so chaotic and as I've seen in my dreams demonic. So
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I mean that
Like
could also
hellfire.
yeah,
Like
that could also have influence from what I'm consuming media wise, but
yeah.
also it could be something dark. I just don't know.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
could be the scientific, like, I'm anxious and I watch scary movies. So
Yeah.
combine those together, I'm going to
Mhm.
have fear in my dreams of demons, da 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 da.
Yeah.
But also, on the more fun side of things, the paranormal element is fantastic.
Mhm.
And I think, especially with, like, the Top Hat Man, that's definitely something that has, in my opinion, has to be based in some sort of supernatural, extraterrestrial, some
Some
sort of,
type of phenomenon's going
yeah,
on there. It's not it's can't be just a major
yeah,
coincidence.
some unexplained element it has to be.
Mhm.
That's my conclusion. There has to be some sort of paranormal element involved there, and I
Yeah.
believe it is in more, probably in my opinion,
Mm.
um, like sleep paralysis experiences. A lot of it, I believe, is paranormal, but I believe
Yeah.
there is some science to it.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
sounds like we agree then. Yeah, I
yeah,
just don't think me watching George Lopez would have manifested
would
a
have
top
triggered.
hat man
Yeah,
to like be made as an apparition in front of me.
yeah. I will
Wow.
say, just in general, I am surprised we never got into Nightmare on Elm Street in this episode. I just
Oh,
realized
wow, yeah.
because that is very much like was like it's sleep paralysis, but it's definitely not because they're
But
literally
it's like
getting murdered.
real.
They're getting murdered by their dreams.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
that's something that that's a whole interesting concept to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, questions everywhere. But
Mm.
I guess that the answers of what sleep paralysis truly is will forever remain a
A
mystery.
mystery.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was a fun
Yes. I know.
episode.
It was
I think
fun.
it's the most we've told stories about ourselves personally
Mhm.
too, which is really
Great.
refreshing. I liked it
Yeah.
a lot. So we will
Yay.
see you guys next week for my
Ooh, we'll see you
case.
then, party
Ooh.
people.
Goodbye.
Bye.